Hi, I'm Jason. Thanks for coming to the channel. I haven't played in like 4 years, and I found Brad Owen's vlog, so I started playing, watching his and then Andrew's. So I decided to go back and play. We are at the Pepper Mill in Nevada. This first episode is May 21st. It's a Friday night. We're sitting down at 1-3 No Limit Hold'em. I did not have permission to film. I have requested that permission and also directed the floor manager to Brad Owen's videos so that she can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So let's jump right into it. There's a special promotion going on where they will draw names every half hour and the winner gets $100. The next pot on that table is splashed $100. This is going all weekend. I didn't find out until I got here. Here we go, first hand, down at Jack of Hearts, Jack of Spades. Definitely going to be playing this. Make it 18. The button calls and everyone else folds. The flop comes, Jack of Diamonds, 6 of Hearts, 8 of Hearts. The pot's $46. This is an incredible flop. We hit top set. We can't let this guy see a free heart or straight. Since we have the nuts, we're just going to go ahead and bet out. I bet 20. I should probably make this a little bit larger. It's likely this flop hit his range pretty hard. He's either going to call a pretty big bet or probably just fold. He does make the call. And the turn comes out the 5 of Hearts. So the flush does get there. And so does 7-4 and 7-9. It's pretty unlikely he's got 7-4, 7-9, but a flush is possible unless he's got the 7-9 of hearts. I check and see if I have the Jack of Hearts. So this blocks a few flush draws and also gives me the 4th nut flush draw. If he has a 10 high flush draw, I have outs to win, and having the Jack also blocks Ace Jack, King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 10, and Jack 9. So I down bet to 20, targeting lower sets, 2 pairs that are likely afraid of the flush coming. This isn't enough to get out non-suited royals with ace, king, queen of hearts that he may have floated with. It's probably better to bet around 65. These hands will all still call, and junk isn't going to call anyway. If he has a flush already, he's going to raise big if I bet small, and if I bet larger, he may just call with position, give me a chance to beat any lower flushes he might have. He does make the call. The river is the 2 of diamonds, and the pot's now 126. The 2 diamonds is about as blank as it can get. If he missed any draws, he's not going to call anything. So I check to him, hoping that he will bluff his missed draws or overvalue 2 pair or a lower set. This is probably not the best play. Most people are probably just going to check it back. I should probably go for some thin value here and bet around $50. He does check behind. I flip over the jacks. He shows a 7 of hearts and mucks. There is a special payout if you get a straight flush. So once he has the open-ended straight flush draw, he wasn't going to fold cheaply. Definitely missed some value here, probably around $50 between the flop and turn. Hand number 2. I look at ace, king of spades. I make it $11 to go. Hijack raises me to 40. He's a young kid, doesn't seem to look like he really fits in. Comes back around to me and I raise to 100. He thinks about it for a minute, he looks at me, and then he folds jacks face up. He says no one 4-bets here, and he's really not wrong. Most people aren't 4-betting. If they are, they always have aces. Maybe he has played there before. I'm under the gun. I look down at ace-king. I've got about 320. I decided to make it 11 to go, and I get 2 late position callers as well as the big blind. The flop comes ace, 10, 7, all spades. Pot's $45. The big blind checks. I check for pot control, being out of position with 2 more to go, and it checks around. The board pairs, it's looking a little better. The big blind checks again. He could be doing this with a 10, a flop flush, 2 pair, hoping someone will bet. He could have nothing. It's likely I've got the best hand here, but if I bet, these guys could raise, and I'll not be able to call any reasonable sized bet. It's better to keep the pot small, and if they bet, I can still call to see the river. Being out of position against multiple opponents really ties your hands. It does check around. The river is the ace of hearts. Now that I have the essential nuts, any ace probably would have bet, especially an ace with a spade would have bluffed at it. I make a small bet of $20 and everyone folds. So likely no one would have called a bet earlier unless they were on a flush draw with a random king or queen of spades. I feel like I lost some value on this hand. Next hand, I look down at ace 3 of diamonds. I'm in middle position. There's a button straddle of 6. I raise it up to 18, and the hijack and button both call. The flop comes down queen 8-6. Pot's 26. I lead out for 25 with the flush draw, and the hijack makes the call. The 9 of club comes on the turn. There's 108 in the pot. I size up a little to 60, looking to fold out hands like ace-king and pairs with low queens. It's likely he'll call with a flush draw and straight draws, as well as a weak queen. He'll probably raise 2 pair or better. He would probably have raised on the flop with ace-queen. He does call. The river is the jack of diamonds. Banked the river, got the nuts. If he has a queen, he might call a small bet. If he has 2 pair or better, he will probably call a larger bet. If he was still playing a straight or hit the flush, he'll probably call an even larger bet. If he missed, he'll probably just check back. So I bet 120 and he quickly folds. It's more buddy bucks coming to my stack. About a half hour later, I look down at queen jack of clubs. I'm in the low jack. There's a straddle in middle position and an early call, and I raise it up to 20. Only the small blind calls. The flop comes queen 9 queen. Pot's 55. This board easily hit his range, so I'm going to continuation bet here. If I check, he'll just get a free card and check the turn anyway. And he is expecting me to continuation bet with just about everything. No need to disappoint. I make it $25 and he calls. The turn comes down the 8 of clubs. The pot's now 105. He checks to me. I get the feeling he's going to fold if I bet. If I check through, he may bluff the river thinking I was just continuation betting with nothing. I have the jack as a blocker to the straight. If he has king queen, king 9, ace queen, then checking will also keep the pot smaller, so I go ahead and check back. The river comes the 7 of hearts. He grabs some chips, about to put them in the middle. He then thinks for a minute and decides not to. I'm not sure if he's trying to get me to check or if he decided I wouldn't fold to a bluff, but I bet 70 and he quickly folds. So I think he just had a weak made hand and he didn't want to face a bet. So we're scooping in some more buddy bucks. Increasing our stack size. I'm in the button and I look down at ace jack offsuit. The under the gun straddled for 6, so I bump it up to 20 and just the under the gun calls. The flop comes king queen 9. This is pretty good for a missed flop. He checks it over and with an overcard, gut shot, backdoor flush draw, and the nut advantage with the blockers. I put out a continuation bet for $15. I'd probably go 20 or 25 here, but I think I'm okay with 15. If I don't improve on the turn, I can check behind. He does call the 15, and the turn comes the 8 of spades. The pot's now $74. Other than completing jack 10, which I have a blocker to, this doesn't really change much. If he was floating light, I need to continue telling my story. I'm not trying to get him off a big hand, just fold out hands that have equity against me. I make it 25, which is probably a little too small. Should probably be more like 40, but he makes the call. The river comes the 10 of clubs. The pot's now 124. The 10 gives me the nuts and hopefully gave him the idiot end of the straight. He's either going to call a reasonable bet or fold to anything, so I make it $70, hoping he's got one of those stronger hands and wants to keep me honest. Unfortunately, he folds, and I'm scooping in more buddy bucks. Our next hand, we look down at ace-king again. We are under the gun. We're definitely going to raise this up. I make it 11 to go, and I get 4 callers. The flop comes ace-jack-6. Flopping top pair, I can continue here. I can get smaller aces, jacks, and straight draws to call. I make it 25, and only the guy on my left calls. The turn comes the 4 of diamonds. The 4 diamond brings in the backdoor diamond draw, but I hold the ace of diamonds, so that blocks a few of those combos, especially being he's under the gun +1. The only diamond draw he's likely to have here also have a pair on the board. He probably didn't call with a naked 5, so he's probably got a made hand, either a weak ace or a jack. He's likely to call a decent size bet with those, so I make it 60 and he does call. The river's a 7 of clubs. The pot's now 215. The river doesn't fill the flush and only brings in the straight with a -5, so I'm not concerned with the straight at all. I'm still thinking he has one of those weak top pair or jack. I would probably have heard from him on the turn if he had 2 pair or a set, so I make it 50 to get a call from one of those weaker hands, and he tosses in a chip for a call. I show the ace-king, and he mucks it. This next one, I'm in the big blind. I look down at ace-king once again. There are 2 limpers, and I make it 25 to go. Both of them call. The flop comes down 5, 4, 2. All rainbow, pot 76. This likely didn't hit anyone's hand, and I have a gut shot to the low straight, so I make it 25 to go. This should fold out any 2 random overcards that completely missed that still have equity against me, except for maybe ace high. Middle position calls. The turn comes the 9 of hearts. Pot's now 124. I still have 2 over and a gut shot. I want to continue telling my overpair story, so I bet out 60, and he calls. The river comes the 3 of diamonds. Pot's now 244. I hit my straight. If he was in there with a pair or even 2 pair, 5-4, then I just got lucky. I make it 130 to go, and he min raises back to me. I should have taken a minute to think about it. What hands would he really be doing that with? Sets, 2 pairs, possibly trying to get me off a chop, which is what I put him on after he raised. But he's probably thinking I have an ace at the very least. So if he thinks there's a good chance I have an ace, either he's got an ace and trying to get me off a chop, or he has a 6. There are some 6s in his range here. 6-7 suited, 5-6 suited, 6-4 suited, ace-6 suited. Against a reasonable range, he's got around 133 combos with a ton of ace suited, aces and 6s, and I'm about 36% favorite against that range. The pot is 634, and I have to call 130, so I have to win around 17%. However, most of those are going to be a chop. If we take out all the chops and assume he's only doing this with a better than an ace, his combos drop to 22, and I'm basically dead. There's still a lot of combos, 16% of his hands. This should probably just be a fold at these, especially at these small stakes. But I snap call thinking we're chopping, and he's just being a dick, and he shows 6-6 and takes it down. I was gonna have this session all on one vlog, but it turns out that it's quite long. There's a lot of hands, so I'm splitting it into 2. So this is the first one, and you'll see the second one in a couple of days. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more of these. This is the first one. These are definitely going to get better, and hopefully at some point I'll be able to videotape at the casino. I will be doing some intros and extras. We're looking forward to some really cool stuff, and hopefully this channel turns into something you guys like.